the symphony of the depths. Welcome to a sanctuary of absolute peace. Leave the noise of the dry land behind you. Take a deep breath and descend into the deep. Look around at the vast and boundless turquoise horizon. The ocean stretches out infinitely before your eyes. It is a living masterpiece of divine artistry. Every wave whispers a secret of ancient trust. Every current moves with an unseen and perfect purpose. Today we leave all human anxieties on the shore. We bury our need for control in the deep sand. We are here to remember a timeless cosmic promise. It is the promise of complete and absolute divine providence. As you watch the colorful life moving beneath the surface, feel your chest expand. There is a rhythm here that does not require your effort. The ocean functions perfectly without your permission or your anxiety. It is guided by the same hand that holds your very life. Let the warmth of this water wash away your exhaustion. Let the light filtering through the surface illuminate your soul. You are safe in this vast living temple of creation. You are about to discover how to trust completely. The lesson of the Coral Reef. Look closely at the vibrant city of the Coral Reef. Thousands of creatures move in a flawless cosmic dance. The tiny clownfish hides within the safe arms of the anemone. The sea turtle glides gracefully through the warm currents. None of these creatures are rushing to a meeting. None of them are worried about tomorrow morning. They do not check a clock or stress over their survival. They simply exist in the exact present moment. They receive their food from the abundance of the sea. They find their shelter in the architecture of the reef. This colorful display of life is a physical manifestation of grace. It is a living testament to a provider who never sleeps. Think of the immense variety of shapes and colors before you. Every neon stripe on a passing fish was painted with intention. Every delicate curve of the coral was sculpted with love. If God fills the hidden depths of the sea with such beautiful luxury, imagine how much more He cares for you. You are not an accident in a cold universe. You are the crown of His living creation. The reef thrives because it does not resist the ocean. It allows the water to bring life and sustenance every single day. You must learn to live like the coral reef. Open your heart to receive the grace that is already flowing toward you. Stop fighting the current and learn to rest in it. The sparrow and the ocean current. Let us bring the words of Christ down into these waters. Jesus told us to look at the birds of the air. He reminded us that not a single sparrow falls without the Father's knowledge. He told us to observe the lilies of the field and how they grow. They do not toil or spin, yet even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Now look at the ocean equivalent of the sparrow. Look at the tiny seahorse holding onto a blade of seagrass. It is fragile, small, and seemingly defenseless against the great ocean. Yet the current brings food directly to its mouth. The seagrass provides the perfect camouflage to keep it safe. The same God who watches the sparrow in the sky watches the seahorse in the deep. And that exact same God is watching over every detail of your existence. Your bank account, your health, your family, your future. He knows the exact number of hairs on your head. He knows the silent prayers you are too exhausted to speak aloud. If He clothes the wild sea irises in breathtaking colors, why do you doubt His ability to clothe you? If He feeds the millions of creatures in the dark trenches of the sea, why do you think He will abandon you? Your worry cannot add a single hour to your life. Your anxiety cannot change the outcome of tomorrow. It only steals the peace and beauty of this present moment. Let the words of Christ sink into your heart like a heavy stone dropping into the abyss. You are deeply loved and magnificently provided for. The illusion of control. Human suffering comes from the desperate desire to control everything. We want to control the weather, the economy, and the actions of other people. We believe that if we stress enough, we can prevent bad things from happening. But control is an illusion born out of deep fear. It is like trying to grab a handful of ocean water and hold it tightly. The harder you squeeze your hand, the faster the water escapes through your fingers. Look at the surface of the sea during a storm. The waves crash violently and the wind howls with rage. If you stay on the surface, you will be tossed around and temporarily terrified. But if you dive just a few meters below the surface, everything changes. The deep water remains completely calm, still, and undisturbed by the storm above. This deep water is your soul when it is anchored in God. The storms of life will inevitably come to the surface. You will face financial challenges, relationship changes, and unexpected trials. But you do not have to live on the surface of anxiety. You can choose to descend into the deep sanctuary of trust. When you surrender control, you are not giving up. You are simply handing the steering wheel to someone who can see the whole map. You are admitting that your human sight is limited, but His divine sight is infinite. Let go of the tight grip you have on your life. Relax your shoulders and open your tightly clenched fists. Let the ocean of God's peace submerge your fears entirely. The rhythm of the tides. The ocean moves in a perfect cyclical rhythm of tides. The water recedes and exposes the shore, then it returns to cover it completely. This rhythm is constant, dependable, and governed by the moon and stars. Your life also has its own divine tides and seasons. There are seasons of abundance where the water is full and warm. And there are seasons of emptiness where the tide goes out and you feel exposed. During the low tide of life, we often panic. We think that God has forgotten us or that our blessings are gone forever. But the low tide is a necessary part of the grand design. It is the moment where the shore breathes and prepares for the return of the water. Trusting in Providence means having faith during the low tide. It means standing on the dry sand and knowing with absolute certainty that the water will return. God never leaves the ocean empty forever. His timing is not dictated by our human impatience. He moves with the majestic slowness of the cosmos. When you stop demanding that the tides stay high all the time, you find true peace. You learn to appreciate the unique beauty of every single season. You learn to rest when the water is low and celebrate when it overflows. You realize that both the high tide and the low tide are working together for your ultimate good. The treasures of the hidden deep. Deep in the dark places of the ocean where the sunlight cannot reach, there is still life. Bizarre and beautiful creatures glow with their own internal light. They do not complain about the darkness or the immense pressure of the deep. They are perfectly adapted to thrive exactly where they are placed. Sometimes God allows us to walk through dark places in our lives. We find ourselves in seasons of confusion, grief, or painful waiting. We look up and we cannot see the light of the surface anymore. During these times, it is easy to feel punished or abandoned. But the darkness of God is different from the darkness of the world. His darkness is a womb where new strength is quietly formed. It is the place where you develop your own internal spiritual light. You learn to navigate by faith instead of by sight. You discover treasures of character, resilience, and empathy that could never grow in the bright sunshine. The pressure of the deep ocean does not crush these creatures because they have an equal internal pressure pushing outward. When you are filled with the Holy Spirit, your internal peace matches the external pressure of life. The world can pile troubles onto your shoulders, but it cannot crush your spirit. You are supported from within by an infinite source of divine energy. Trust that even in the darkest valley of your life, God is doing a secret work. He is preparing you for a glory that you cannot yet comprehend. The beauty of living without anxious care. Imagine waking up every single morning with a perfectly light heart. Imagine looking at your calendar and your problems without a single knot in your stomach. This is the life of radical trust that Christ invited us into. It is a life of childlike simplicity and immense freedom. Children do not worry about how their parents will buy groceries. They do not stress over the rent or the electricity bill. They play, rest, and grow because they have total confidence in their parents' care. God desires you to have that exact same childlike confidence in Him. He wants you to cast all your anxieties onto Him because He cares for you affectionately. When a worrisome thought enters your mind, treat it like a passing wave. Do not try to fight it or hold on to it. Simply observe it and let it pass over you as you sink deeper into trust. Say to yourself quietly, God is in control and I am safe. Repeat it until your heartbeat slows down and your mind clears. Look at the majestic whale swimming past with effortless power. It does not carry the weight of the world on its back. It simply enjoys the vastness of the ocean that was created for it. You were created to enjoy the vastness of God's love and grace. You were not built to carry the heavy burdens of the future. Leave tomorrow's troubles to tomorrow and live fully in the beauty of today. The lesson of the whale shark. Let your focus drift to the largest fish in the entire sea. The majestic whale shark glides slowly through the sunny shadows. It moves its massive body with incredible patience and grace. It possesses immense power, but it chooses complete gentleness. The whale shark does not hunt aggressively or fight other predators for food. It simply opens its massive mouth as it swims forward. The ocean filters thousands of gallons of water through its system daily. The water naturally provides all the tiny plankton it needs to grow. This giant creature is completely sustained by the simple act of moving forward. It does not experience panic or a sense of urgency. It knows that the boundless ocean will always provide its daily nourishment. You can learn the ultimate lesson of survival from this gentle giant. You do not need to fight aggressively or step on others to survive. You do not need to operate from a place of desperation and competition. Simply open your heart and move forward in the path God has set for you. Trust that the environment of grace surrounding you will feed your soul. The provision you seek is already mixed into the currents of your daily life. Relax your mind and allow the flow of divine abundance to meet you. The stillness of the Mariana Trench. Now let us descend to the lowest point on the entire planet. The silent depths of the Mariana Trench are wrapped in eternal stillness. The water pressure here is great enough to crush a steel submarine. Yet there are delicate transparent creatures thriving in this very zone. They do not feel heavy or burdened by the weight of the entire ocean above them. They are completely filled with water that matches the pressure outside. Because their internal state balances the external environment, they move freely. They dance in the dark without a single care or worry. You might feel like you are standing at the bottom of a dark trench today. The weight of financial stress, family burdens, and health worries can feel heavy. You might feel like the pressure of life is about to crush your fragile spirit. But remember the design of the deep-sea creatures in the trench. When you fill your mind with the presence of God, your internal pressure changes. His holy peace fills every empty space inside your heart and soul. The external weight of the world can no longer diminish or destroy you. You become perfectly adapted to stand strong in the middle of any trial. The pressure becomes completely irrelevant because your inner strength is greater. Rest in the quiet stillness of His protective embrace right now. The divine symbiosis of the sea. Look at the miraculous partnership between different species on the reef. The tiny cleaner shrimp waits at a specific station on the coral head. Massive predatory fish arrive and open their mouths willingly. The tiny shrimp climbs inside to safely remove parasites from their teeth. The large fish receives a health benefit and the shrimp receives a safe meal. Neither creature harms the other because an implicit law guides them. This beautiful system of cooperation is called symbiosis. It is a biological proof that creation is wired for harmony and mutual support. Every single element of the sea works to benefit the larger collective whole. Your life is also connected to a grand web of providential design. God does not expect you to survive entirely on your own human effort. He has already prepared the right people to help you at the right time. He has positioned divine helpers, resources, and solutions along your path. You do not need to stress over how you will solve every future problem. The helper you need is already being guided toward your specific station. Trust the invisible coordinator who manages the entire ecosystem of your life. He will ensure that your needs are met through unexpected channels of grace. The healing power of oceanic silence. The world above the water is incredibly loud, crowded, and demanding. It constantly screams for your attention, your energy, and your focus. But the moment your head dips below the surface, all that noise vanishes. The ocean replaces the human chaos with a heavy healing silence. You can only hear the gentle sound of your own steady breathing. This silence is not empty, it is filled with the presence of the Creator. It is a holy space where your nervous system can finally rest. Jesus often left the crowds to pray in lonely, quiet places. He knew that the human soul requires regular seasons of absolute silence. You must create a spiritual ocean of silence inside your own daily routine. Turn off the notifications, the talking voices, and the digital screens. Sit quietly in the presence of your Father who sees you in secret. Let the heavy silence of His love wash over your tired brain. In this quiet space, your anxieties lose their ability to speak to you. Your mind becomes like a still pool reflecting the clear light of heaven. Reclaim your peace by diving into the sanctuary of divine quietness. Standing secure on the waves. Recall the stormy night when the disciples were trapped on the sea. The wind was howling and the waves were crashing over their small boat. They screamed in absolute terror, believing that their lives were over. Then they saw Jesus walking calmly on top of the violent water. He was not sinking because He was sovereign over the elements. He looked at Peter and invited him to step out onto the waves. As long as Peter kept his eyes on Christ, he walked on water effortlessly. But the moment he looked down at the wind and waves, he began to sink. Your life will often feel like a stormy sea with rising waves. The circumstances around you will scream that you are going down. If you focus entirely on the negative data, you will sink into despair. But you have the power to fix your spiritual gaze on the Savior. Look past the storm and see the one who holds power over the storm. Walk forward by faith and trust His word over your visual circumstances. The waves that threaten to drown you are completely under His feet. You are safe because you are walking with the ruler of the winds. The timelessness of the water cycle. Think of the majestic journey that every drop of ocean water takes. The sun warms the surface and evaporates the water into the sky. It forms beautiful clouds that travel over mountains and dry lands. The clouds release rain to feed the trees and fill the rivers. Eventually, every single drop flows back into the great ocean home. Nothing is ever truly lost or wasted in this grand planetary design. The water changes its form, but it always returns to its original source. Your life experiences follow this exact same timeless law of Providence. No season of your life is ever wasted or permanently lost. The tears you cried in the dark are evaporated by His healing warmth. They return as showers of blessings to grow your character and wisdom. The detours and delays are just currents leading you back home. Trust that God is managing the grand cycle of your entire destiny. He will gather every broken piece and turn it into a beautiful story. Your future is safely integrated into His eternal rhythm of restoration. The shelter of the kelp forest. Look at the towering green stalks of the underwater kelp forest. They rise from the dark floor up toward the sunlight at the surface. They sway gently with every passing wave in complete fluid motion. They do not resist the movement of the heavy water around them. If a plant tries to stand rigid against the tide, it will break. The kelp survives because it has perfected the art of flexibility. It bends completely flat when the current is fierce and strong. Then it rises back up to full height when the storm passes. Inside this green canopy, millions of small fish find absolute safety. The thick leaves create a natural shield from heavy winds and predators. This forest is an allegory for how we must handle the pressures of life. Do not harden your heart or stiffen your neck against your current trials. Learn the holy art of surrender and divine flexibility. Allow the currents of providence to move you without breaking your spirit. Trust that you are being sheltered in the secret hiding place of the Most High. He has surrounded your life with an unseen canopy of spiritual defense. You can rest safely inside His care while the storm rages outside. The mystery of the bioluminescent wave. Watch the ocean surface as night falls completely over the deep. The dark water suddenly begins to glow with a magical blue light. Every time a wave breaks, it creates a bright streak of luminescence. This light is produced by microscopic organisms floating in the currents. They do not shine when the water is perfectly still and undisturbed. They emit their beautiful glow only when they are agitated by the waves. The pressure of the movement triggers their internal divine light. Your soul works in this exact same mysterious way under pressure. You do not discover the true depth of your faith when life is easy. Your spiritual light shines brightest when you are tossed by difficult circumstances. The trials you face are designed to activate the glory inside you. Do not curse the waves that are currently shaking your world. They are the very elements that will make your testimony shine bright. God uses the friction of life to display His beauty through your character. You are a beacon of heavenly light in a dark and watching universe. The majesty of the blue whale. Consider the immense presence of the great blue whale gliding by. It is the largest creature to ever live on the face of the earth. Yet it moves through the vast water with absolute weightlessness. It does not struggle to stay afloat or fight against gravity. The ocean completely supports its massive frame every second of its life. The whale relies entirely on the buoyancy provided by the deep. It takes a single deep breath at the surface, then rests in the deep for hours. This majestic giant travels thousands of miles without a single anxious thought. You are carrying a massive weight of responsibility on your human shoulders. You are exhausted from trying to hold up your world by your own strength. Learn the lesson of buoyancy from the great blue whale. Allow the vast ocean of God's love to fully support your weight today. Cast your heavy burdens onto the one who created the great waters. He is more than strong enough to carry you and your problems together. You do not have to swim in desperation or fear of sinking. Rest in the effortless support of His grace and travel in absolute peace. The silent growth of the pearl. Look down at the quiet oyster resting silently on the dark sea floor. A tiny sharp grain of sand slips inside its protective shell. This foreign object causes irritation, pain, and constant discomfort. The oyster cannot physically remove the sand from its fragile body. It does not panic or grow bitter about its painful situation. Instead, it quietly begins to coat the irritation with smooth layers of nacre. Year after year, it covers the pain with beautiful lustrous material. Over time, the source of irritation is transformed into a precious pearl. The most valuable treasures of your life will grow from your deepest pains. God allows the sharp grains of trials to enter your personal space. He does not do this to punish you or destroy your happiness. He does this because He is building a pearl of immense value inside your soul. Every layer of patience, prayer, and trust you apply turns the pain into beauty. Do not resist the uncomfortable process of spiritual growth. The irritation you feel today is the foundation of your future glory. Trust the master craftsman who is turning your scars into masterpieces. The architecture of the nautilus shell. Glide along with the ancient chambered nautilus floating in the deep. This unique creature builds a spiral shell that is a marvel of geometry. As the nautilus grows larger, it does not simply stretch its old skin. It builds an entirely new chamber that is perfectly proportioned to its body. It seals off the older, smaller room behind it and moves forward. Each closed chamber is then filled with a precise mixture of gas and fluid. This hidden system allows the nautilus to control its position in the deep water. It can dive deep into the darkness or rise up to the moonlit surface. The nautilus thrives because it leaves its past homes completely behind. It seals the old walls but uses the empty space to balance its current life. Your soul must learn the design strategy of the nautilus shell. You cannot live fully in the present if you are still trying to pack into your past. Seal off the chambers of old regrets, mistakes, and broken relationships. Do not carry the emotional deadweight into your current season of life. God is constantly building a larger room for your spiritual identity to expand. Use the empty spaces of your past trials as pockets of wisdom to balance you. Trust that the architecture of your destiny is handled by a divine engineer. You are being fitted for greater depths and higher perspectives every day. The silent dance of the manta ray. Observe the vast wings of the manta ray cutting through the deep blue. It does not swim with frantic splashes or heavy physical exertion. It literally flies through the ocean water with breathtaking elegance. Its movements are a lesson in absolute silence and rhythmic grace. Even when faced with strong changing currents, the manta ray remains calm. It tilts its wide wings slightly and glides effortlessly through the turbulence. It does not fight the heavy moving water with raw aggressive power. It works in absolute harmony with the shifting medium surrounding it. You are constantly burning your energy by fighting the conditions of your life. You stress over changes, you panic over delays, and you exhaust your spirit. Learn the art of spiritual gliding from the majestic manta ray. Stop splashing frantically against the circumstances that God has allowed. Tilt your perspective and glide through the current using the wings of faith. The peace of God will carry your weight when you stop straining. You were built to move through this world with heavy spiritual dignity. Trust the current of grace that is operating beneath your current trial. The hidden rivers of the ocean. Beneath the visible waves of the sea lie immense hidden rivers. These are deep global currents that move massive amounts of water across the planet. They travel thousands of miles underneath the surface, completely invisible to the eye. They carry warm tropical water to freezing polar regions to balance the Earth. They bring vital nutrients from the dark abyss up to the sunlit reefs. No human eye can see these massive liquid highways from the shore. Yet the entire climate of our world depends completely on their steady flow. They move with absolute certainty, governed by the unseen laws of the universe. Your life is currently being guided by a hidden river of divine purpose. You look at your daily circumstances and you see absolutely nothing moving. You feel stagnant, you feel stuck, and you worry that your life has no direction. But beneath the surface of your waiting room, God's global currents are active. He is quietly moving resources, people, and opportunities into place for you. He is balancing your environment and preparing your future harvest in secret. You do not need to see the movement to believe that the current is real. Anchor your confidence in the unseen activity of your Heavenly Father. His sovereign design is flowing smoothly toward your ultimate good. The miracle of the deep sea vent. Descend further into the total darkness where the ocean floor fractures open. Here toxic chemicals and superheated water erupt from deep thermal vents. In this hostile environment where survival seems completely impossible, life thrives. Vibrant communities of specialized creatures surround the boiling waters. They do not depend on sunlight or the traditional food chains of the surface. They receive their energy directly from the minerals produced by the dark vents. They turn what should be destructive poison into a fountain of survival. They are a testament to the absolute limitlessness of the Creator's design. You might feel like your current environment is completely toxic and dead. You look around your workplace, your family, or your situation and see no light. You feel like the hostile conditions around you are going to destroy your soul. Remember the miracle of the thermal vents at the bottom of the world. God can sustain your spirit in the middle of the most difficult surroundings. He does not need ideal conditions or human approval to prosper your life. He can turn your place of pain into a fountain of supernatural strength. Your nourishment comes directly from His presence, not from your environment. Stand strong in the dark, knowing that His power is fully activated in your weakness. The anchor of the soul. To sustain this lifestyle of trust, you need a strong spiritual anchor. An anchor does not stop the storm from happening. An anchor stops the ship from drifting into the dangerous rocks. Your anchor is the unshakable truth of God's character. He is completely good, completely wise, and completely powerful. He has never failed you in the past, even when things looked bleak. Think back to the times you thought you would not survive. Think of the doors that closed only to open much better paths later on. Every single experience has led you to this exact moment of growth. The same grace that brought you through the past storms will carry you through this one. When you feel your mind drifting into anxious thoughts, drop your anchor deep into His promises. Remind yourself that He works all things together for the good of those who love Him. The ocean before you is a physical mirror of His infinite mercy. It has no end and no boundaries. You are swimming in a sea of divine love that can never run dry. Let this truth settle deep into your bones and relax your mind. The ultimate form of worship is not singing songs or reciting prayers. The ultimate form of worship is trusting God when you do not understand His plan. It is saying, "I trust you even when the water is deep and dark." This posture of the heart moves the mountains of anxiety out of your way. Conclusion: the great return to the shore. As we slowly prepare to return to the surface, take one last look around. See the gentle rays of light playing on the backs of the fish. Hear the rhythmic, soothing sound of the deep water shifting around you. Remember this feeling of total safety and divine connection. This ocean of peace does not disappear when you turn off this audio. It lives inside you because the Creator of the ocean lives inside you. You can return to this sanctuary of trust at any moment of your busy day. When the noise of life becomes too loud, close your eyes for a brief second. Visualize the calm blue depths and remember the lesson of the sparrow and the seahorse. You are provided for, you are protected, and you are deeply loved. Release the heavy burden of control once and for all into these waters. Step forward into your life with a light step and a peaceful smile. Trust the process, trust the journey, and trust your Creator with everything. May the peace that surpasses all human understanding guard your heart and mind. Go in peace and live without anxiety.